this is sort of like a restart, recharge, reopening for our students, for our families. What we've asked teachers is, as school begins again on December 7th, that we scale back and that we focus again on creating community. Now, learning will not stop. However, it is very important that as students face yet another change, that we kind of slow it down a little bit. Some students are changing from virtual to hybrid. We do have some students that are changing from hybrid to virtual. And what that means is a change in teacher. All of our teachers here were designated, with the exception of one, as either a hybrid teacher, full-time hybrid, or a virtual teacher, full-time virtual. And so for those boys and girls that are shifting one way or the other, it will require a change in teacher. So that will be sort of like a little restart. And we think it's important to get our students in and make them a part of that school community. And so you'll see things still continue, but slow down just a little bit, because teachers will spend some time. You know that although every classroom's the same and we operate the same, teachers have their specific classroom rules and expectations, their own way of doing things. And so we want to transition our students well through that process, and we want to set them up for success for the remainder of the year. So we will start with our school day and what that will look like. Our school day will not change. School will begin at 7:50. You may start bringing students, if they are car riders, as early as 6:50, and the school day is from 7:50 and dismissal is at 2:20. The first bell rings at 7:40 and the tardy bell rings at 7:50. A struggle with that this year is parents are saying, but we're on time. If you are in the front dropping off at 7:50, you are late. 7:50 means we are in the building, we are ready to learn. So students arriving after this time must be signed in by an adult. Our safety rules, we are not lightening on those. And so parents that need to see someone from the office, you will ring our doorbell just as you have this far, and someone will come out to sign your child in, to speak with you, to get you whatever you need. But we do want to minimize traffic in the building. Although we're bringing our students back 4 days, we will still want to maintain that safety. Students do have access to breakfast. It is a grab and go. And so as students come in the doors, whether it's the front door with car riders or the back door with bus riders, they grab their grab and go breakfast, they report to class, and they are eating breakfast while the teacher has them beginning some kind of getting started activity. 100% of our students have access to free breakfast this year, car riders and bus riders. We tell parents, again, as we talked about that 6:50 time, breakfast ends at 7:40. So if you have your child in here 7:40 or earlier, they have time to come in, get that breakfast, sit down, eat that breakfast without rushing, and then they're ready for instruction at 7:50 when the teacher's ready to begin. Okay. Morning arrival, we will continue the same safety processes that we currently have in place. The front doors will open for car riders at 6:50 in the front. Now, if you have been here before, you know that after a certain amount of time in the past, we've had a pickup, a drop off at back for car riders in the morning. We will no longer have that this year because our buses are doing multiple routes. They're doing multiple routes because we want to keep that safety protocol in place on buses. So that entire 6:50 to 7:50 hour, we have buses dropping off and going back to pick up another route as needed. So the car riders, you have from 6:50 to 7:50 to enter the building from the front of the school only. Students should remain in their cars just as they do right now. We have staff on the sidewalk out front, and that staff will come by and take temperatures of the students before they ever even get out of the car. Now, I know during the winter, we're going to have heat on in the car, and you may have some thermometers that read hot. If that's the case, what we'll do is ask you to pull over in the grass. We'll give you some time to maybe turn off your heat, give the students a couple of minutes, and then we will check their temperatures again. Again, we want to be safe, but we also do realize that those sometimes will read warm if you have your foot on in the car. That's right. Can you mute your mic for me, please?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Bus riders the same way. We have staff on duty out back, and they take temperatures of every bus rider before they enter the school. Students who get off the bus and have temperatures are immediately sent to the nurse. They never go down to the classroom to mix with our other boys and girls. They are immediately sent to our nurse. Parents are contacted for pickup. That magic number that we're looking for is 100 degrees. Students with a temperature of 100 degrees or greater will not be able to enter the building if they're a car rider. We'll just ask, Mom, they need to go home. They cannot enter the building with a temperature above 100. Or if we feel like it's the heat, pull to the side. We'll try it again in 5 minutes. Parents of bus riders will be contacted to pick up their students if his or her temperature is greater than 100. So that's our magic number for school. Okay. Afternoon dismissal. If you need a car rider tag, you can see what that looks like. Every parent picking up a child through our car rider line needs this tag. That lets us know that you are an approved person to pick up the child. Our car rider dismissal begins at 2:20. All cars coming through the line must have this car rider tag displayed. That tag also gives our person on duty the name to call in so that your child can begin transitioning out to the car. Car tags will be distributed through the car rider line, or at this point, if you know that you need one, you can message your child's teacher. You should be hearing from your child's teacher, their current teacher, and if they're going to make a change, the new teacher, before we get out for Thanksgiving break. So you will know before we ever leave if your child is going to have a new teacher. I will go ahead and give you the heads up that in kindergarten, first, second, and third, we are going from 2 virtual teachers down to 1. In all of those grade levels, pretty much we had 3 hybrid teachers and 2 virtual teachers. We are going from we're going down 1 virtual teacher where we'll have 4 hybrid teachers and 1 virtual teacher. In 4th and 5th, at this point, it looks like we have, according to the surveys that you guys completed at the end of October, it looks like we have enough to maintain the 2 virtual teachers in 4th grade and the 2 virtual teachers in 5th grade. Okay, so you will be hearing from those teachers before we leave for Thanksgiving break. So if you haven't heard from them this afternoon, you'll definitely hear tomorrow. Okay. A typical week, what it looks like for our face-to-face students. And if you see, the schedule is the same. So it's not like the spring where you have this packet, you work at your own pace. We have spent lots of time investing in our children and talking with them about the importance of, if you are a virtual student, you are present in the same way that a hybrid or a live student is present. As you can see with both of those schedules, learning begins at 7:50. Students are not lying around in bed. They are not wrapped in cover. They are not leaning back in the recliner. They are sitting up in a learning space just like our students in the classroom. That learning day is from 7:50 to 2:20. And then as you can see on both schedules, our grow day is Friday, and that is a day of at-home learning. Another thing, while we have you parents, that is also an ideal day for a catch-all day. We know that life happens. We know that your child is involved in other activities, Boy Scouts, soccer, football, cheerleading, Girl Scouts, whatever the case is. So on that grow day, that's usually a day where a teacher comes on, she spends some time with the children, and then they have some time to work. That is a great catch-all day for you to catch up on anything that the children need to catch up on. I would say our biggest struggle this far has been where our boys and girls have gotten so far behind. And like I told you, we have used our grow day to bring them in and catch them in, but we have to have some deadlines to assignments. And so, I've told teachers 7 days. I mean, that's plenty. 7 days, no matter which day you have it, includes a weekend. So if something happens where life happens, not only do you have that grow day, but you also have a weekend. But we just can't keep assignments out there and outstanding. And when it's October 2nd, we can't be doing assignments from August 31st. It's where there's a moving target and our babies are never going to have the opportunity to catch up. So I would say that up until this point, that has been our biggest struggle. And as much as you can help us with that, it's greatly appreciated. Okay. Safety. Safety is our top priority. So all of the safety protocols that we have in place, those protocols are not changing. Our schedules are not changing. Our not mixing cohorts, very little of that is changing, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So as we look at temperature, when should my student stay home? If your student's temperature is greater than 100, the student needs to stay home. Anytime a student runs a fever, he or she must be fever-free for 48 hours. And this year is so important for us to keep the lines of communication open so that if your child is experiencing a fever, our nurse can stay in touch with you. We are staying in touch with our virtual students as well as our live students. And what we're trying to do is, we don't want to just say that everything's COVID, but we also want to keep our students safe. So staying in touch with the school about your child's symptoms, that's just very, very important. If your student is displaying the following symptoms, he or she should not come to school: cough, loss of taste or smell, fatigue, congestion, vomiting, and diarrhea. I can't tell you, there's been a time or two where, a child has said, and children are very honest, I got sick and threw up last night, but mama said I was feeling better this morning. Absolutely not. And then what we do is we call the family and say, this student needs to be picked up. If you say that it's allergies, we're not doubting that it could be allergies, but in this time with where we are, we can't take any chances. And so if your child's experiencing those symptoms, they need to stay at home. Close contact. If your student has had close contact with an individual who has tested positive for COVID-19 or who is currently experiencing symptoms, keep your child at home. Keep your child at home. Let us know. We will send you a survey link. Once you have communicated this information with us, the temperature, the symptoms, or the close contact, we will send you a survey link, and you will complete that survey just with the facts of what's going on. After that, our nurse, our district nurse, or someone from human resources from the district will be making contact with you, and they will get more specifics. And if they can rule out and your child just has to stay home the 48 hours, then that's what they do. If they need you to do something more, they will communicate that with you at that time. Parents, you have been amazing at doing that. I had an email Sunday where a dad just kind of said, my daughter came in contact with somebody who's tested positive. We were only with them for about an hour this weekend. We just wanted you guys to know. I sent him that link and we got that ball going. And I said, don't send her to school on Monday. sent him the link, and then we got that ball rolling. But that communication is just so important as we all work together to keep each other safe. Mask and plexiglass shields. Every person at North will be required to wear a mask. I cannot tell you how amazing our students have been with this. Parents, I want to give a shout out to you because I believe that you got going with that this summer. As we started talking about students returning to school and needing to wear masks, and we weren't sure if that was going to be doable for our little ones, and you saw all the memes on social media with the mask on the head and the mask wrapped around the ear and the mask rolled on the finger. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen a time or two, but for the most part, from pre-K to fifth grade, our students are wearing their mask. And when they're not, we are constantly reminding them, pull it up over your nose, pull it up off your chin, just constantly. Students will be able to remove their mask during lunch once they are seated. Once all of our students come back, what we will do is students will pick up their lunch. All students will eat lunch in the classroom. Currently, we have so few students at school that each child has his or her own cafeteria table. So we have 6-foot tables in the cafeteria, and right now, every child has his or her own table at lunch. So right now, it's safe for us to eat in the cafeteria. But when this next group transitions in on December 7th, after looking at those numbers, we feel like it's best to be safe for students to pick up their lunch from the cafeteria and eat in their classrooms. They will be allowed to take off their mask once they are sitting in their seats that are separated and apart, and then they will be able to take off their masks to eat once they're behind this plexiglass shield. Our plexiglass shields did arrive to us today, and so we have already gone out and distributed those to every classroom. Just to let you know, our district has spent a good bit of money buying a more durable plexiglass shield. However, this one isn't too bad to last us from December 7th to right at Christmas or a little after, because that's the goal. We are placing an order tomorrow. I have a team that's measuring desks tomorrow so that we can get the heavy duty plexiglass that will be attached to desks. But as you can see, this is a pretty big shield. I've already peeled the blue covering off of this side of the shield, if you can see that. And then we'll peel the blue off the other sides of the shield. But this plexiglass will be around every child at their desk or at their table. And students will not be allowed to remove masks for lunch until every child is seated, every adult is seated, and every child is behind their plexiglass shield. Each student, like I said, received 2 of those. So if something happens to one of them between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we will be able to replace it until our heavy duty ones come in. Okay. Next slide, please. Washing away the germs. Another area where you guys have knocked it out of the park. You have really worked hard, and we have reiterated at school the importance of washing your hands at every opportunity. Do we still use sanitizer? Absolutely. But every opportunity that our children have to wash their hands, that's what we do. Go to the bathroom, give them opportunities to wash their hands with soap. We have talked about the correct way of washing their hands in between their fingers, all the pieces with that. When hand washing isn't accessible, of course, sanitizer is what we do. And then teachers, every teacher is equipped with disinfectant spray, Clorox and Lysol wipes, as well as Clorox and Lysol spray. And anytime they are out, we have an abundance of supplies here at school for them to be replenished. Teachers wipe down themselves in between different sessions of class or different times of the day. Teachers take care of that themselves. We have a day crew that is very vigilant and efficient in getting everything wiped down. And then all teachers, we have had teachers that in the past, they've been in this building to 6:30, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night getting ready. We have run them out this year. Teachers, if you're on here, we have rushed them out, and all staff has to be gone by 4 o'clock so that that night crew can come in here and deep clean. Another time that deep cleaning takes place that's very important is on that grow day. It's been very important up until this point because it separated the two cohorts. There was Monday, Tuesday, then that deep cleaning on Wednesday while teachers worked, and then we had Thursday and Friday. But this time, as we transition all of our kids back in, that deep clean will happen on our grow day on Fridays.
Ms. Mickles, before we go to the next slide, we have somebody with their hand raised.
Okay.
Do you want to take questions now, or would you like them typed into the chat box?
We can go ahead and take a question. As you see questions, Ms. Burton, definitely let me know. I have a lot going on my screen. Thank you.
I know you do. I believe it's Maxim's mom, maybe? I'm not sure. The screen name is the Queen. All I can see is the Queen.
Okay.
That raised her hand.
Okay. If you'll go ahead, that's Miss Streeter. Miss Streeter, your question.
That's who it is. Yeah.
Hey, yes, this is Crystal Streeter.
Okay.
I tried to change my name. I couldn't.
You're
Okay, so first question is cleaning the plexiglass shield. Do teachers, staff, or the child, who is responsible for cleaning that shield?
We have our night crew that will be responsible for cleaning them in the evening. We have to be very careful with these during the cleaning. They won't be quite as durable as the others, but teachers will have students, and especially since we're eating in the classrooms, students will be part of their routine as they are putting their things away, will be wiping down their area where they're eating. We will wipe those down before they eat, and then we will wipe those down after they eat. But teachers pretty much are just being vigilant all day long, just responding to whatever is happening in the classroom. If they have kids in there and they're sneezing, teachers are wiping. If they have, someone knock something over, or kids have water bottles, and if water bottles are knocked over, teachers are responsive with that. So really it's everybody being responsive all day long. Our night crew doing the biggest cleaning. Our day crew goes in classrooms periodically, but we want them to disrupt instruction as least as possible, but it's responding to whatever we need to all day long.
Okay, thank you. And my last question was, are we as parents need to supply the student with supplies? And what about the virtual students? Do we need to send supplies as well? I know we are a shortage in a lot of the sanitizers and Clorox wipes, around town. So I heard you say that you guys do have a massive supply, but sometimes those massive supplies do get depleted. What is the response on that?
Usually our teachers will have and send like a wish list, and we word it in the way of a wish list because we know that parents have their own responsibilities at home and things that they have to take care of at home. And typically if there's anything that teachers need, they will communicate and say, hey guys, if anybody could spare Kleenex at this time, if you would send it in. So usually individual teachers as needed, they will send a wish list. But I will say that our district, that was part of their contract with our current cleaning crew, is that the supply and demand of cleaning supplies this year be a priority, and they have done well with keeping us stocked what we need and more than we need, because our thing is we don't want to run out. We have what we will have anywhere from 410 to 420 students coming back, and we just don't want to run out. So I would say just be responsive to each individual teacher as they communicate. But thank you for that support. Okay. Personal learning spaces. As you can see, the setup of this classroom, this is what a classroom looks like right now, and it will change a little once we add these plexiglass shields. But each student at North will have his or her own desk or table space. It will be spaced out by the recommended 3 feet from one person to the other, with students having their plexiglass shields and their masks. Parents, we ask that you please continue to remind your students the importance of wearing your mask and staying in their personal space. And again, you've done a beautiful, beautiful job with that. So we want to give you a shout out and an air high five on that. You are rocking with that. We appreciate you. Brittany O'Neill.
I have a question, even though I'm not going to real school. But how would you get the notification that your teacher has changed?
Teachers will send a message through talking points, which usually comes through like a text messaging type system. They will also send an email. But if you are not a North student, your school may send it a different way. They may send it in the way, every school kind of has their own way of doing things. Not every school uses talking points, but that will be communicated to you, but probably I will say an electronic way. If we mail letters, it takes you a while to get those. So it will be done electronically, but I would say, I bet you definitely email, but if they have some other kind of system, they'll use that too.
Okay.
Thank you. Water bottles and school supplies. Again, as we step back, we will need to act as if this is the beginning of school. For students who have been virtual, students will need to bring in their water bottle. We have water fountains turned off. We do not want students using shared water fountains. So they are turned off throughout the school. Students will not be permitted to use water fountains at North. Students will need their own school supplies. So if your child is going from virtual to live, just pretend like this is August. We'll get teachers to send a school supply list, and you need to make sure that they have their items for learning. We also need our students each day to bring in textbooks. If your child was virtual, then they took home after map testing all workbooks, all textbooks, all Chromebooks. All of that needs to come back if your child is going from virtual back to school. Chromebooks go back and forth every day. Teachers will continue to operate from the Google Classroom. In the case of inclement weather, like if we have a snow day, instead of that being a freebie, snow days now that we are e-learning district, snow days can be days that we go virtual. So, and we never know how things are going to be. We're at the start of flu season. And so depending on what happens, if for some reason, we hope not, we pray not, but if something happens where our school has to close or your child's classroom has to close, we need to continue that aspect of virtual learning. So those Chromebooks need to come back and forth with students. What will learning look like this year? Okay. I will tell you that it will look exactly like it's looked in years past. Face-to-face students will attend school in person 4 days and complete 1 day of at-home learning. That's on Friday. Hybrid students will be with their teachers 4 days and receive 1 day of at-home learning. That will be on Friday from 7:50 to 2:20. Grove Day again on Friday. Students need to be ready on their Google Meet. This says 8 o'clock. Have them ready, logged on at 7:50, ready to go. Students will have assignments posted in their Google Classrooms to complete throughout the week, including Fridays. And we're asking that you meet that 7-day timeline for getting those things turned in. Virtual learning model, same thing as the hybrid model, or the same thing as the face-to-face. Students are 4 days with their teacher, even though they're at home, 4 days with their teacher. Same model as, we'll go to the next slide, same model as our face-to-face. So what will instruction look like? We are teaching the standards. Students will still have their reading block, their math block. In their reading block, it includes writing and phonics. Their math block, social studies, and science. So even though learning is not conventional, the instruction is still the same. Our model is not conventional, but our learning is still the same. Library books will use Destiny, and that's the software that our Media Center uses. And students will have the opportunity to check out books. Face-to-face students will get library books while they're at school. Virtual students will have the opportunity to pick up books through a drive-through system. Grow Friday is a great time where if your child wants to check out library books, we can get that scheduled and give them the opportunity. We want our virtual students to have the same school opportunities as our students who are here. And so anything that our hybrid face-to-face students have access to, we want our virtual students to have access to that as well. So keep an eye out for more details and a pickup schedule. Ms. Hagans will be communicating that. Expectations, as you can see, they're the same. I've said that, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the learning expectations are the same. Both face-to-face and virtual learnings will have lessons and assignments posted in the Google Classroom for the at-home learning day. These should be completed by the due date set by the teacher, but the schedule is exactly the same. Technology tools. Our students have done a great job with Chromebook. Parents, you have done a great job with Chromebooks. The following students in Lancaster County School District are issued a Chromebook this year. Our kindergarten through 5th grade virtual students all have a Chromebook. Our 2nd grade through 5th grade face-to-face students all have a Chromebook. Chromebooks enable our students to use Google Classroom, participate in Google Meet, and complete their assignments. Google Classroom and Google Meet is where the lessons are posted. Students do not have a school-issued device may still access these tools using devices such as a smartphone, a laptop, a desktop computer that you have at home. Students will use their Lancaster County School District Google email and password to access these tools. And by now you have the hang of that because you're doing a beautiful job with that, parents. Technology Help Desk. We do have Lauren Humphreys, who is our reading and who is our math and technology coach. If your student encounters technology issues at home, this is what you should do. Send a talking points message to your child's teacher that you're having problems. Or you can visit this website and look for the Tech Help Desk link under Quick Links. There's a form for you to complete, and then our tech coach will get in touch with you. At the beginning of every morning, it is all hands on deck. She is on duty first thing in the morning, but the next thing she does, the very thing that she does as soon as her feet step back into this building, is look at the help area and start returning calls of parents so that we can get students logged on and ready for instruction. So if you don't get an immediate response, like if you message at 7:15 and you don't get an immediate response, she's on duty. Sometimes we will notice, or you may call and we're able to pull her from duty, but a lot of that depends on how busy we are. I would say with everyone coming back, don't expect to call until she's able to come in from duty. So with that, we will see all of our North Nights soon. Just a couple of things that I know that this did not hit. We will still have, in terms of our specials teachers travel to your classrooms or to the students' classrooms. We want to minimize the mixing of kids as much as we possibly can. For recess, we have recess zones. We will continue to have those recess zones. So now that in kindergarten through third grade, we're going to have 4 classes that are here, we will have 4 recess zones on the playground. And so those students will play with one another in their class, but they won't mix cohorts. The goal of not mixing cohorts is if someone experiences symptoms or if there has been close contact, remember how I told you we would send that link? It's very easy to follow that link and know who we need to make contact with after a close contact has been identified when we don't mix lots of groups together. We can narrow it down a whole lot easier. Also, what we try to do is be proactive, and we try to send home as few people as we need to. We don't need to say, well, this affected 1 child and that child had contact with 8 people, and so we're shutting the school down. That's not what we do. What we do is we look at the person in question, whether it's an adult, whether it's a child. We look at that survey. We look at that, we send that survey, and we only address the people from that contact tracing. As far as classrooms, our classrooms are fairly small. We're excited about that. Most of our classrooms, our largest classroom will be 23, 24, that's 4th grade, but most of our classrooms are anywhere between 17 and 21. But 4th grade's our largest group. Okay, at this time, do we have any questions? I want to open it up to you. Ms. Burton will help me look. If you'll raise your hands and we will ask questions. Crystal, Drew, how can we help you?
How you doing, Ms. Mickles? I was
Great, thank you.
Are y'all gonna have the school professionally cleaned?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have a professional crew that cleans the building daily now. It is a contracted crew, and that's what they do. And I will tell you, in an instant, let's say that a child has tested positive in a classroom. We do the contact tracing. We send home who needs to send home. That night, we have them come in, and we have done this on several occasions, and we have them, some people call it bomb the classroom or bomb the hall or spray the hall, however you want to look at that. But we have them do the regular night cleaning and then the above and beyond as we need to focus on specific areas.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Stacy and Brittany.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Quick question. So when the students are behind the plexiglass at their desk, they still have to wear a mask?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because that plexiglass shield kind of shields them in from other students because we're moving them in closer. We're going from the 6 feet to the 3 feet. However, we still want to, and especially during this season of allergy now, where students are sneezing, students are coughing, we have other things going on. So yes, we feel like being doubly protected is what we need to do. When they are outside during their little recess zones, teachers have been told as they need to give mask breaks like outside, they are welcome to do that. One reason for doing that, Stacy, too, is that contact tracing that the district does. Let's say that a child tests positive in a classroom. If a child tests positive and we have been in that classroom with mask off, that classroom is sent home.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is minimize as few people affected or infected should something happen as we possibly can.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anyone else? I see right here, Brittany. Is that Brittany?
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, my question is, what would the zones look like?
We may have, like for North, we have the Gaga pit. So the Gaga pit may be one zone. Then we have the area where the track is for those who, and our PE teachers usually equip those areas. So we may have some jump ropes and balls and things like that in that area. Then we have like our soccer ball area, and we may have some students out there doing some free play. But what we have asked our PE teachers to do is each week just kind of equip those areas, and then we have a process for cleaning materials that students use from one recess time to the next.
Another question.
Okay.
Will after school still be a thing or something like that? No.
We will not have after school program, not at this time. If something changes, we will let you know. What we want to do is get the students in 4 days a week, get a test and a feel for that in between these 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, see how we do, get the kids back into a routine after Christmas. But as soon as that changes, because we want after school too, that's a good time. Our employees enjoy that with our kids. But right now, that answer is no.
Ms. Mickles, there are several questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Open up your chat.
Okay. Let's see.
I think you answered the one about the classroom. The next one, somebody wants to see this, the plexiglass again.
Absolutely. Okay. You tell me if you can see it. And as you can see, it is a trifold, and I have it up on a cart, but this trifold would be sitting on your student's desk, and then their chair, they would be pushed into their desk with this trifold around them. And this is one of the reasons that we started with elementary school, opening up our elementary school first, because we feel like with the size and the height of this, that we could safely get our elementary kids protected behind the shield. Does that answer? Okay. Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. The next question says, what is the protocol for a student to go from virtual to face-to-face learning or vice versa? Can that happen at any point?
What we have done is we've sent that survey out, and what we're going to do is start with that survey, get our students in. What we'd like to do, the back and forth, is there's a lot that goes behind changing classes. Like typically what we are doing now happens over 6 to 8 weeks during the summer. So I want to give a shout out and commend our staff, because they are doing normally what it takes that happens in the summer. They are doing that within a 2-week time period, all while teaching school at the same time. So we don't want to have a revolving door, but we are definitely open to touching bases with you. If you find yourself in a situation where something needs to change from what you put in that October 31st survey, definitely call us and let us know. But what we would like to do is for people to stay true to what the choice that they made during that week, so that we can get some kind of settled and not have the back and forth. But we know that there may be situations where, you know, your child has other conditions, numbers have gone up, you just don't feel good about it, and you want to come back and have a conversation and say, I know I chose face-to-face, but back when I chose that in October, these numbers didn't look this way. And obviously we'll talk, we'll work with you. Miss Drew.
Yes, ma'am. That I was trying to get at. If you did go ahead and my daughters are already at home doing the virtual, but I want them to switch back to the face-to-face because I'm not a teacher, and I feel like I'm the reason that they're falling behind. Will they be able to go to school on the 7th, or no, they will have to stay home?
Give us a call and we will look at what we have. I have someone taking notes right now. And so we will definitely be in touch so that we can make that happen. What we'd like to do, if you have to make a change, we would like for you to communicate that change by the Monday after Thanksgiving. Because that week we are going to be moving and shuffling that week. There's a lot that has to be done teacher-wise, furniture-wise. There's lots of moving pieces. So if you need to change, let's try to do it the Monday after Thanksgiving, no later than that.
Next Monday. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Ms. Drew, we do have your data, what you requested previously. So you completed the survey in October and expressed that wish. So we have that already for you.
Okay. Yay.
Good to go. Good to go.
Ms. Mickles, there's a few more in the chat side. We've been asked about the data on the students that have been affected with in-person learning. Do we have any data on that besides the district? All I know of is what the district has produced each week for us.
Right. We have had what we have seen at our school. We have had a few children who have tested positive, but most of our students who are out, staff members who are out, we may have one student who is out, but it's because of the contact tracing, and we're trying to be proactive to keep a widespread. We have sent multiple students home, but as far as cases in the building, we have had more adult situations than we have children. Situations with children, but we have had some, but usually it's the contact tracing that gets us. And I think that's part of and it depends on how you look at this scenario. You may look at this scenario and say, well, you know, all is well if the children are fine, but if there's nobody here to teach them, all is not well. And so what we're seeing is lots of adult situations where we believe our kids are more carriers, or they're able to find out, kids are resilient, and but we're seeing adults that are affected who we feel like are probably affected because we have more kids who are carriers and asymptomatic. I saw, as far as being at capacity, I know I saw that just flash across the screen. I'm not sure even who said that. Basically what we will do is respond to, we will not pack children in classrooms. I can promise you that. Before we would pull, like in those 4th and 5th grades where there are 2 virtual teachers, if our numbers continue to rise in those live face-to-face classes, what we would do is make another one of those teachers, those virtual teachers, live. So the goal is to keep numbers where it's very manageable, very doable. And what our teachers are doing after school, I went into a classroom with a teacher on Friday, and what she was doing was wanted me to look at the formation of her desk and just said, what if I do it this way? What if I do it that way? Will I be safe and whatever? And I said, you'll get these shields on Monday. Once you get these shields, then after school on Monday, let's look at it again. And so teachers are already, they requested furniture. Furniture was delivered today to them. Plexiglass shields was delivered today, and they are already starting to think about those things. But no, we will not pack classrooms with children. Do you see any other questions, Ms. Burton? I can't tell.
Yes, ma'am. Blanca's mama asked if the virtual students for 4 days, do they have homework on Friday? All students will have some assignments on Friday that could be completed during the school day, but no, what we would traditionally call homework, where after school is over, they go home and do more work. But every student will have assignments to complete during the school day on Friday. I hope that helps.
Absolutely.
And the last question from Ms. Cataldo. What, if anything, is keeping the plexiglass connected to the desk, our current trifold ones? What's going to keep it from falling off?
If you look, it is, and teachers can decide which way they want to use it, but this part is a very hard plastic. I'm not doing very much right now to keep it standing, and it's pretty stable. And with the size of our class desk, I don't anticipate having very many issues with that. And if so, if they fall, a child picks them up and put them back up. But the more sturdy ones that we are now taking inventory for, that we will make an order for tomorrow, those will be physically attached to the desk. But as you can see, I mean, this thing is up, it's on a rolling cart, and it needs very little support from me. And I think it's because of the just magnitude of the plastic there. Okay, Miss Drew, I think I see. Unmute your mic.
I think she was just raised from earlier, but I'm not positive.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do we have any other questions, families? Yes, ma'am.
When will I know if my child goes back to virtual or face-to-face?
If whatever choice you made on that survey, you are granted that choice. So whatever choice you made, know that you are good to go. The thing that you are waiting on now between today and tomorrow is to learn if your child will have a teacher change. But whatever you put on there, if you put you wanted to be virtual, you will be virtual. If you put that you want your child to come back to school face to face, they will come back face to face. Okay. Any other questions? Miss Delaney.
Hi, Miss Mickles.
Hello.
I just want to take a second and just thank you for everything you're doing to keep our children safe coming back. I know this is so hard. There are no good answers. There are no quick answers. And I just want to speak on behalf of so many of us to say thank you. That's all.
We appreciate that. And I'm going to tell you, many times I'm the face, but it is all about this team. As things have happened and we have had to quarantine teachers or just whatever, I can't tell you how my phone rings or how my email goes off with teachers saying, I don't have duty in the morning, but I am free to come in, and where can I cover? Where do you need me? And it is truly a team effort. I want to thank you for saying that, and I will communicate that to our staff. But it is truly a team effort of everybody just pulling together and doing what they need to do for the kids. Thank you. Is there anything else? Just to let you know, just save the date, couple of things. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, a Thanksgiving of hope, blessings, relaxation, and rest. Take a couple of days away. Don't look at a Chromebook. Don't look at an assignment. Don't look at a Google Classroom. We hope that you enjoy your Thanksgiving break. December 7th is when our 4-day week begins. December 7th through the 18th, our students will do winter map. We'll have our winter map testing. Obviously, they won't test all of those days, but they will have a day that they'll do ELA testing and a day that they'll do math testing. We will have another one of these virtual meetings on December 21st. It's a Monday. We'll do 3 to 4 o'clock, and we'll have another meeting. Hopefully, I can give you all good news with a good update about how smooth our restart has been, and we'll share more information. And then we'll have Christmas break. So hard to believe. December 23rd through January 3rd. Thank you so much for what you do. We could not do what we do without the partnership of you. If that is all, we want everyone to have a good night, and thank you for your time this afternoon. Thank you.
I do have one more thing to ask. Did you mention about next Wednesday, them having the opportunity to meet teachers again, or just revisit anything with classrooms as they change?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Next Wednesday, our virtual open house again. Did you mention that?
We will have, thank you, Ms. Burton. We will have a virtual open house / restart parent session where you'll get a chance to meet the new teacher if your child changed. Or you'll get a chance to hear some things that are working well in the class that you're in, get a chance to ask some questions of the teacher. So it'll be a little bit of time with you with the teacher. That's the Wednesday after Thanksgiving and before our 4-day week starts. Look for a schedule for that. We will stagger that schedule. So if you have more than one child, you can attend both sessions. So do look for that. And that is on Wednesday, December 3rd. Anything else? Thank you, Ms. Burton. Have a great afternoon. Thank you, everybody. It's always a good day to be a North Knight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Casarubias, can I help you? Did you have a question? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you sign up for your child to go back to school, but they're on virtual now, and you want them to continue virtual, is that possible, or would they have to transition back?
Yes, ma'am.
I just joined in. I didn't get I just got off of work, so I missed the whole meeting.
That's okay. One thing we did is we recorded this for you, so you'll be able to watch the recording of anything you missed. But if you'll just give the school a call tomorrow and talk to either Mrs. Johnson or Mrs. Deese at the front desk, and they will be able to help you with that.
Okay.
We're open still. We're able to make some changes still. So you just give us a call and we'll help you out.
Okay, you said tomorrow morning?
Yes, ma'am, as early as possible.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.